Hello, and welcome to episode 88 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, I have a great interview with Emma Tessler. And before I get into telling you a little bit more about Emma and our conversation, I would love to remind you of the links you can find in the show notes. I have a lot of downloads for you, a quiz that you can take to find out what kind of interior design you should be doing, and some great information that I share with you. I wish that I had known when I had started out my career in interior design, and the roadmap to interior design, and then a little bit more about my design mentor, which is my mentorship platform. I'd love to work with you there. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit more about Emma. Emma Tessler is founder and CEO of 95 Media, a digital marketing agency that builds results-driven marketing strategies for scaling brands. With 8 years of marketing experience under her belt, Emma helps brands connect with ideal clients, build community, and convert audience members into paying customers through social media marketing. She has a lot of great things to say, plus a background in interior design you might find interesting. So let's talk with Emma. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Hi, Emma. Welcome to Design Curious.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I'm excited to talk to you today because I see that you are an interior designer or in the field, but has transitioned away from that or adjacent to that. So let's get going talking about your history with interior design and kind of your path to where you're at now.
For sure. Yeah. So I went to school for interior design. I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology. I fully thought design was going to be my career path. I was obsessed with it. How can you not be? And it was through that experience, like when you're in design, especially when you're in school, you kind of have one avenue of thinking about design, and then you graduate and you realize, okay, well, it's a little different out here.
Mm-hmm.
The world is a little different. When I graduated, I began doing commercial design. I worked for a firm in New York City that we were doing commercial office spaces, and it's a very niche aspect of design versus when I was in school, I interned for a lot of residential designers. And so being able to see both sides is really valuable. But when I was in school, I was doing a lot of internships. And at one of those internships, the person I was working for was looking to expand her design business and do some consulting work. And this was 2015. So it was a while back, but I was the youngest person on her team. And she handed me her phone one day and was like, I heard people are doing something with Instagram. There's this thing, like, I think we can get some clients from here. Just figure it out. Like, just try what you can. So I started poking around on her Instagram, doing some research. I found a lot of resources from podcasts back then as well. And it really opened my eyes to this whole space of digital marketing. And through that, I looked around and said, how are more businesses not doing this? This seems like an obvious way of bringing in business. I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about growing a brand, but it seemed like a lot of potential to me. And so over the course of the next few years, I continued to work with her on her social media, continued to learn, take on a few more clients. And it was around 2018 that I knew I really wanted to explore marketing more full time. And in 2020, as a lot of the listeners, I'm sure know, design was hit so hard by all of the changes during COVID. And so at that point, design was really kind of hurting, and marketing in the social media space was absolutely exploding.
Yeah.
And so during that year, I left design and I formally opened 95 Media, which is my digital marketing agency. We work with scaling brands to really grow your online presence and monetize your audience. And since 2020, just so much has continued to boom in the social media marketing space. We've worked with over 150 clients to really grow their business via social media. And it's just really, really incredible to utilize this tool that's available to all of us to grow a brand, to get more reach, and to really ultimately be able to serve more clients, especially for our clients in the design space. We have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of brands that we still work with in the A&D industry.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you if all your clients are designers or if you branched out to other industries as well. But yeah, I'm sure there is, because that's kind of where you got your start, was working with a designer on her brand. Do you find that promoting a brand for interior design on Instagram is different than other industries?
Yes and no. So we do still work with a lot of designers, home products, to the trade products, things like that. But we also work with a lot of brands outside of the design and architecture space. What I would say creates the biggest divide in terms of marketing would be product versus service. It's a very different strategy. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously in design, we're service. And so we're really trying to get people to increase our brand reach. So we're trying to get in front of new people, get them to our profile. And ultimately, the big conversion metric that we're looking for is for them to book a sales call typically
Mm-hmm.
to meet with the designer. Versus with product, we're really looking for those faster conversions for product sales, whether that's from an Instagram shop, a TikTok shop, or go to the website, etc. So those would be kind of like the big differences. But at the end of the day, the strategies behind the type of content to create, there's actually a lot more similarities between them across different industries than you might think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So, and I assume one of those is like to build it yourself as an authority in your industry, promoting yourself to the people on the platform. So, what are some ways that designers can do that correctly?
Building authority is so important. There's really a lot of ways to go about doing that. There's a lot of different angles. If we're looking at Instagram in particular, I know Instagram is kind of like the go to for most designers. The number one way I would say to do that, well, there's two ways. It's mainly through video content. That's kind of the core of everything. Instagram stories are really underutilized, in my opinion, by designers. They are kind of this ancillary form of content, especially when you're managing your own marketing. You might think, okay, what's my feed content going to look like this week? How many reels am I going to do? How many carousels and before and afters and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
But Instagram stories really give you an opportunity to show the behind the scenes, to show what you're doing on a day to day basis. At the end of the day, being able to see what you do outside of meeting with your client is going to give someone who's considering working with you this different perspective of who you are and how you work. They're going to be able to see the things that you do behind the scenes that maybe even if they were a client, they wouldn't necessarily see. For
Mm.
example, how do you handle deliveries? How do you handle inspections of products? How do you handle installations? Maybe your clients aren't typically home during an install, so they just come home to the beautiful after. But by
Mm-hmm.
showing that process, especially via stories, you're giving this sneak peek and it feels really exclusive to your audience. Yes, every other designer is doing it, but are they all showing it? No. And so when you get to do that, you just really set yourself apart and you show the things that make you an expert and why someone should hire you, again, outside of just having this beautiful space at the end of the day.
Okay, so that is a good point. Stories. I think sometimes the holdback is that it's such a temporary place to post that should we be saving these stories, all of them that we're posting, like the behind the scenes things, or should we just keep posting every day and keeping it fresh and new? What would be your recommendation on that?
My recommendation is the latter. So, yes, it's temporary, but that's also what makes it so great
Mm,
because that gives your audience constantly new content. And if we know anything about consumers today, our attention span is like that. It is so fast And we are constantly expecting to be entertained and to have our attention captured. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have new content on your stories every day, I always recommend having active stories every single day. Maybe you skip the weekends, but like at least Monday through Friday, having active stories that are not just sharing your new post for the day, but
Mm-hmm.
actually unique content. But to your point, something that you can do is jump off of something that you shared to stories and turn it into other content. Something that we do at 95 Media is for our social media, our Instagram account. I'm on our Instagram stories every single day. And so sometimes I'll get on stories and I will just like rant on a topic that's like top of mind for me or an issue that we've just solved for a client. And I know other people are going through it as well. So I'll talk about it on stories. And our social media manager on our team will be like, loved that. Go re record this, turn it into a 60-second clip for TikTok. And so, when you're recording Instagram stories, you can do as many 1-minute clips as you want. But if
Mm-hmm.
you want to really capture the attention, there's always ways to kind of summarize down the topics you've talked about or
Mm-hmm.
turn it into different content for other platforms or other formats. So
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely something you could do. Say you had an install and you got a lot of replies to the way that you handle your installations. Well, that's telling you your audience is really, really interested in that content. So then you could create a video, the 101 on how I handle installations for my clients so they don't have to worry about it and everything is delivered perfectly every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a great video idea. And that could simply come from you just showing the everyday behind the scenes of your life and your company.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So, as you said, the Instagram is the main platform that a lot of designers use. How bad is it if you're just reissuing that content onto like Facebook and TikTok, if you just take your reels from Instagram and just repost them? Or should we be creating new content for those other platforms?
Well, when it comes to Instagram and Facebook, I think it's fine to repurpose your content. The piece that I would recommend you change is elements of your caption. So, for example, hashtags don't really do anything over on Facebook. So, there's no point in having hashtags. If you're tagging brands, their handles are going to be different on Facebook versus Instagram. So, you always want to double check that. And you can, of course, include a live link in your Facebook caption, unlike on Instagram.
Mm,
So, if you have a CTA, go visit the link in my bio or DM me this word, whatever that might be on Instagram. You'd want
mm-hmm.
to change that for Facebook and just have here, book a call with me. Here's the direct link. The actual core content, though, like if you're looking at a video content, for example, yeah, you can repurpose it over to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I would not, however, recommend doing that for TikTok.
Okay.
So there's always been talk about how, if you're just repurposing content, it won't perform as well across platforms. But that's really becoming more prominent than ever. And
Mm,
the algorithms are getting smarter. The way that the AI reads your content is getting smarter. So I highly recommend editing the video between Instagram and TikTok. So, a really easy way to do this is you have your concept of your video. Maybe it's come shop with me at Home Goods. These are the products that I would pick as a professional interior designer. So, you have the video, you're recording the clips, you're splicing them together. I would splice them together in an outside app. So,
uh,
one app that I really like is InShot. It's just easy, really user friendly to put all of your videos together. Create your base content there. Then upload that video into Instagram and TikTok uniquely and
mm-hmm.
do your finishing touches. So, your finishing touch may be text on the video, you have trending sound overlay, maybe there's like the captions that you're putting on the video. These elements are unique to each platform, and the platforms can read, is this our font? Is this our color? Is this our caption?
Mm,
And it's going to really, really favor the content that is created or finished in this case in the app.
mm-hmm.
So you can definitely repurpose your ideas. I would just finish the execution in the apps uniquely, and you're going to find that they're going to perform a bit better for you.
Okay, that's a really good recommendation. And do you think that designers should kind of split their focus on these different platforms or just kind of go all in on Instagram? Like, what's the best method? And I'm sure this is part of the service that you provide, but for the designers to approach getting the best client, the ideal client, like where are they going to be? Should we still be pursuing all the platforms?
It really comes back to your brand individually, right? There's
Okay.
not necessarily a hard answer. There's a few factors to look at though. One, what is your content bandwidth? How much content can you realistically pump out? Do you have a team to support you? That's obviously what we do at 95 Media.
Mm-hmm.
We offer white glove social media management service, top to bottom, create the content, build your community, get it posted, data analytics, all the things. But if you're not there yet, you may have a smaller bandwidth for how much content you can realistically produce. Once you start posting and producing content, you also need to make sure you aren't going to hit a cap with that. Because if you build all this momentum and you're posting consistently and then you stop, you're going to have to start building that momentum all over again once you kick it back up. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be really difficult to do. So
Mm-hmm.
you really want to consider your bandwidth. What's your budget to outsource? Can you get support on that? And who is your target audience is the other really big one. If you're targeting boomers and you are looking at an older generation who maybe are wanting to design and decorate their retirement homes, you're not going to be on TikTok. That doesn't make sense. But if you are targeting new home buyers, maybe first time home buyers, new parents who are overwhelmed and need a designer to help them with their homes, or, just people in between the ages of like 20 to 45, TikTok is going to be really important to your marketing strategy. The reality is that social media apps are now the new search engine. And that
Mm-hmm.
is why it's so important to be on as many as you can, because when someone goes to search interior designer in Dallas, Texas, you want to be one of those people who shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not there, obviously you can't show up and people can't tag you, they can't find you. So I would spread your wings as far as you can, get on as many platforms as you can that you can be consistent on and create great content on. If that
Mm-hmm.
means one right now, then do one. But if you can really stretch it, I would do more just so that you're consistently showing up for
Mm-hmm.
potential leads.
Okay. That's really good. And so what about trends? How much focus should we put on those trends that are coming through and everybody's hopping on and doing the same type of video content? Is that good for our accounts, or is that just going to be us trailing along after everybody else?
Well, trends are definitely a great strategy to deploy in your marketing. One of the biggest benefits of working with someone in the marketing space is that they can tell you the trends and they can tell you when they're popping off so that you're not behind on the game. That's something we work with all of our clients on is, we're always tracking trends. We're always spotting them. We're always sharing them across the team as well. And so we're able to have our clients jump on them really quickly. And that's really important to gain that traction that a trend is picking up. However, the benefit of trends just on a big scale is that they help you really get in front of the most people because the algorithm is favoring that content. And so even if you're a week behind on the trend, still do it, in my opinion. Something to keep in mind though, is that trends are typically happening with video content. So if you're looking at Instagram, a trend is typically going to be on a reel, a
Mm-hmm.
trending audio of some sort. Reels that are more trend based or entertainment focused are really your top of funnel avenue into your marketing. These are not the posts that are going to convert someone from just finding you to booking a sales call typically, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there are definitely exceptions to the rule, but typically the purpose of these types of videos is to get in front of more people and increase your brand reach to build
Mm-hmm.
awareness of who you are, what you do, what you offer. Then, as people come down the funnel, they go to your profile, they consume other content. This content is more lower funnel, should be more educational. Here's our services, here's a before and after, here's a testimonial, those types of things. And those pieces of content really bring people through the other side to book a call. So,
Mm-hmm.
when you're jumping on a trend, I wouldn't get worried about the fact that, like, oh, this isn't really giving me an opportunity to talk about my service, or I feel like this isn't really sales content, or I don't really know how this is related to my brand. Do them because they're entertaining, they're fun, they will get your brand in front of new eyes, and then utilize your other content to really kind of capture them and bring them through to that CTA that you're really looking for your consumer to take.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about what 95 Media can do for designers if they're interested in your services or they're just like, I don't have time to figure it out myself, then I want Emma to help me.
Definitely. Yeah. We have worked with so many interior designers, and really, we can do it all, is what I always like to say. Our goal is to take as much off of your shoulders as possible. So if you are someone who struggles with, I never know what to post, or I'm just posting because I think I have to, I'm just getting random stuff up. I have no idea if it's working. I don't know how to read my analytics. I don't even know if this makes any sense. Like I'm just posting some spaces I've designed. That is where we come in, and we integrate a strategy into your content. So we do a full audit of what has happened in your account to begin with, really looking at the analytics because the data will tell you everything. And from that information, also from industry trends, from what we're seeing in the marketing space, we'll then implement a new content strategy. We'll create all of the content for you. We even come out and shoot content with you if that's needed. A
Hmm.
lot of our clients are just like, I am so awkward in front of the video. I want you to stand there and tell me what to do and what to say, and we'll go from there, which is great because that is super easy for us. Typically, we can shoot 2 to 3 months of content in like 2 hours together.
Hmm.
And that makes it so easy. And then we're not giving you any extra work along the way.
Yeah.
Once we have that content, we write the caption, do the hashtag, get it posted, and then we go and build your community online as well. And that's a big piece that a lot of marketing agencies miss or don't do as much as we do. We really put a big focus on inbound and outbound engagement. So, not only nurturing the people who already know who you are, but really getting you in front of those new eyeballs to increase the people who may not even know who you are already and really need your services.
Hmm.
So we do a lot of engagement, and then we do a heck of a lot of reporting as well. So we send our clients weekly reports to really break down the data and make sure that we're adjusting the content along the way and that you're continuing to see really incredible results. So I like to say we offer white glove, full scope social media management services for anyone
Hmm.
who's really looking to scale your brand utilizing social media marketing.
Okay. And I know that ManyChat is something that's coming up as a lot of people are looking to increase engagement with people in their posts and things like that. Is that something that you would be able to set up? Do you like it? Do you use it for your clients?
Definitely. It's actually one of our new offers for 2024. We love the platform. We handle the full setup and we handle maintenance on a monthly basis as well. For anyone who doesn't know what ManyChat is, it's basically when someone comments or DMs a single word, and then your account will automatically send them kind of a blurb and then links directly to wherever you're trying to send them. For several of our interior designer clients, they have a lot of affiliate marketing. And so they have LTK pages with the products from a space that they designed. So we may want to send them to LTK and grab the affiliate commission from LTK and, those products that someone may purchase. Or maybe it's promoting your services. And so you want to send them directly to book a consulting call with you or a sales call with you. There's so many ways to really maximize your engagement with ManyChat that we are absolutely obsessed with. It's a service that we offer as an add-on to our social media management package for any of our existing clients. We don't do it like one off, but we'll add it on to a client that we're already managing their social for and continuously set up new sequences on the back end of ManyChat so that we have a multitude of different avenues to send your audience to and really capitalize on their engagement.
Nice. Well, that is a lot of great information for us. Thanks, Emma. Do you have any advice for interior designers, whether they're seasoned or new, as we sum up, just how to have a strong presence and generate leads with their social media?
Yeah, there's so many ways to generate leads, honestly. It does come down to having a strong presence, and typically having a strong presence comes down to having really great content. As the foundation, I would recommend having a really clear strategy behind your content. That is going to help drive the ideas behind your content. It's going to help make sure that you're speaking to your target audience. And even more than that, working towards your goals. Because if your goal is to maybe sign 5 big projects this year from social media, Well, that's an attainable goal. But if you're only posting like funny, trending Reels content, that's probably not going to happen.
Mm.
So you want to make sure that your strategy is aligned with your goals and your execution is aligned with your strategy. And by doing so and really making sure that you are taking the feedback from your audience, from your analytics, your presence is going to be very strong. And that is going to speak to the right people, build trust with your audience, and ultimately bring them through the sales process to want to book a call with you. And then, of course, at that point, it's for you to decide and make sure that they're the right fit for you and close the sale at that point.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as I'm sure many people listening might be interested in working with you, where can they go and find more about you?
Absolutely. So our website is 95media.co. I'm super active on Instagram. Our handle is 90.5.media, all spelled out. Those are the best places to kind of learn a bit more about our services. But we also have a podcast. It's called Stop Scrolling, Start Scaling. And
Nice.
we talk a lot about marketing tips, really kind of best practices and things like that, which is also a great resource. But our website has all of the things. And our Instagram has our link in bio as well, if that's easier.
Okay, great. Well, we'll put all those links in our show notes and we'll definitely go and check out your podcast as well. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a great chat.
Yeah, loved it. I just love how with each of these interviews that I do, I learn something more that I can apply to my business. So I'm definitely going to take a lot of what Emma said and take a look at my social media and see how I can improve it. I hope you have also felt the same way after listening to her episode. And so feel free to write a review if you're enjoying it like I am. And I'd love to hear from you to see what episodes really resonate with you on the podcast. That's it for this week, but next week I'll have another great episode. So until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.